Welcome to block 8 of our Spring Mini Hungarian Folk Art series. We are doing a pink version of this quilt and we are on block 8. And so we have completed block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and today's block is number 8. We have 4 of these blocks. If you're just now joining us for the Spring Mini Series, make sure you check out the videos for the intro and block number 1, because that explains the entire technique and all the supplies you need. And also, don't forget that we have all those supplies at QuiltNCode. So if you have any questions or you have any comments, or if you would like to get some of those supplies, make sure you check out QuiltNCode.com. Let's get started. Block 8 uses the dark pink, the peach, the green, and the yellow. And I have gathered my threads, so let's get stitching. This pattern calls for 4 blocks in my design, but the reverse is already on here, so I don't need to worry about turning this over and drawing anything on the back side. I can simply draw out my 4 blocks right here. So I did keep everything like in their color sections, and I'm gonna need 12 of these, but I've already drawn and cut a whole bunch out. So I did not cut out more, or did not draw more of the yellow circles. I actually did all of my cutting for the other 3 blocks, but wanted to show you that just like the other blocks that we've done, I'm laying everything out, ironing and cutting out. And remember, you want to have a nice rough cut here before you iron these onto your pieces. And then, like I said, I already have a ton of little circles already cut out, so I'm good. All right, once this is cool, then I can go and cut out all my pieces. Now I can cut directly on my drawn line. The flowers come in pairs, so I have gone ahead and done the 2 upper flowers. So these upper flowers are going to have their stems going down toward the center, and so that's how I have started these 2 flowers. And so I've got this one, that way I can sort of mimic this other one on the other side so that it goes out opposite. So I already went ahead and took off the paper backing. That way, once I get everybody into place, then I can, well, didn't take the paper backing off of these 2. I love this part. I feel like it is the most fun to get these little pieces where they're supposed to go. And it also starts really just livening up all the work, especially since you're adding in these yellows. It just adds so much to it. So what I'm looking for here is a little bit of symmetry. I just want to make sure that everybody is sort of, I mean, they're going to be apart from each other on the quilt, but we want to make sure that they sort of have that same sort of look. I find that tweezers or my scissors just helping move those things into place. There we go. And then once I have these set to where I would like them to be, I can go ahead and heat them down. I like to begin by just pressing down a little bit because sometimes those pieces can shift if you start moving that iron around too quickly. And down here at the very bottom of that leaf, I am simply going to cut that off, or that stem. So we'll just snip that off, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and iron the other two the way I want them. The bottom two flowers are coming sort of out from this centerpiece right here. And so I went ahead and laid all three out together just so I could get an idea of how it would look when I was ironing it down. Make sure with these pieces that you're definitely getting that 1/4 of an inch on all the sides. I am going to let this piece come off a little bit, which is why I made the pattern be so that it was a little bit longer on those pieces. And then I can just snip them off, and that way I kind of get a little look there. So now that I have everything pretty much the way I want it, I'm going to slip this guy out of the way. And I'm actually going to move these guys closer together because I kind of want that symmetry look. This way I can kind of get these stems kind of going in the same direction. I am going to go ahead and snip you guys just a little bit so I can really figure out what kind of look I'm looking for here. That is pretty symmetrical to me. It doesn't have to be perfect. It is quilting here. If it's perfect, it doesn't like look human made. All right, looks great. So now I am going to do the same thing I did before, and I'm just going to press with my iron so that nothing shifts, blows out of the way, and then set them in place. See, something shifted. Get back over there. Those little guys are the bane of my existence right now. I have cut out more little circles than I care to admit. All right, there we go. Let's stitch. Since the circles are so small and so delicate, I am going to start with my yellow. So I've started in the center just to get used to my stitching for the day. I'll get my circles done on all 4 blocks, and then I'll start on the other colors. I'm just going to tack that in place so that I can cut when I'm done, and now I'm going to turn to my circle. So I find circles to probably be the hardest ones to do because you have quite a bit of pivoting to do. And so I'm going to just demonstrate how I'm not even pulling that thread out. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and I'm making sure that I'm on the edge, and I'm using my hand wheel right here just to make sure, or I can use my needle up down button, and I have knocked my speed to the slowest speed I can knock on my machine, and that way I can constantly pivot with my needle down inside the fabric and on the outside of my circle. It's almost like I'm doing 1 stitch at a time for these little circles. Having a speed control on my machine is so fantastic. Okay, that was my last one, so I am going to tack that in place. And by tacking in place, I'm simply going up and down a few stitches. On my machine, I will show you. I have a little button here that says, that has a circle with a circle around it. And that button is a tacking button. That means it's going to go in the same place 3 times. And that way I can simply cut those threads when I'm done. Okay, so now I'm going to the next circle. I'm right on the edge. I'm going to double check by bringing my hand, using my hand wheel to bring that down. And I know what position my needle is in. In other words, I know it's going to go forward and back because it had just finished with that tacking stitch. And this one's a little tiny one, so won't take as long, but it sure is going to be a lot of pivoting. I find that blanket stitch to be very forgiving when it comes to these circles. If I'm on the outside a little bit, no problem. If I'm on the inside, it is no problem, and it's just gorgeous in the end. Almost looks like little starbursts. All right, so I've tacked that one, and now I'm going to move over to my next one, making sure with my hand wheel that I'm in the outside of that little circle. And now I'm going to repeat this with all of the blocks, and then I'll move on to the dark pink. I'm going to do the dark pink next because I have this little guy here and I'm still feeling pretty good. So he is going to take some little finagling with my needle down and pivoting. And so I am going to start with him just because once he is done, the rest of the blocks are going to go so easy. So make sure you're in the right position and get started. Now that he's all done, I can move on to all these nice wide curves. And there you have it, block number 8. It's actually 4 of them, but if you decided to only do 1 or 2 of them, they will still fit lovely in this Hungarian folk art vase. And so this is your project. You do what you want to do. You do the colors you want to do. You do all of it the way you want to do it. It is your project. But I am giving you the tools to applique 1 5.5-inch square at a time. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, and do all that other social media stuff. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.